Good morning, everyone. I, Neetu Sharda, on behalf of Speaking Cube, welcome you all to the 3-day virtual international conference on mindfulness in action to create a fairer world, sponsored by MyFab 11 and Reena Mahesh Hospital, co-sponsored by Smart Data Enterprises and California Institute of Hypnosis. I feel honored to welcome our chief patron, Dr. Anil Prakash Joshi, Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan awardee, environmentalist and founder of Hesco. Our patron, Professor Dr. Christopher Willard, Harvard Medical School, Massachusetts. I also have the pleasure to welcome our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Baidyanath Labh, Vice-Chancellor, Nav Nalanda Mahavira University and Central Institute of Buddhist Studies, Ladakh. Our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Abha Singh, Director, Center of Emotional Intelligence, IILM University. I also welcome our eminent speakers and the participants to this conference, which is one of its kind. Now, I request Lama Shantanegi ji to take you ahead with Mangala Charan. And may I request you all to be in the prayer position.
Om Swasti. Sarvadrishti Prahanay Yasadharam Madeshat Anukampa Mupadaya Tam Namasyami Gautamam. Vidut Kalpana Jal Gambhiro Dhara Murtaye Namah Samantabhadraya Samantas Phanat Vishay. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassaha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassaha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassaha. Gange Lodre Deme Dinda Nitara Namda Rasalva Jia Dungo Jeje Zekche Nitke Tukara Lekbamji Ganda Sebe Chara Mare Munto Dungal Gezirwe Dojo Kula Boje Taje Yala Doje Yandensu Dota Zado Yomo Nilo Leke Zado Doljaje Mare Munse Dunga Yugo Jie Joza Raldena Dene Daje Saje Tanya Yanda Luzo Gelse Tovego Chuta Juda Jue Gente Dalo Monse Jambal Nyangla Du Om Arapachana Di Om Arapachana Di Om Arapachana Di Bhavatu Sarva Mangalam. Dhanyavad.
May goodness, please. May goodness prevails. I pay homage to the Buddha who refuted all the wrong views, who expounded the right way out of this unconditional compassion. I pay homage to Buddha who has destroyed the web-like misconception and expounded deep, vast teaching of embodiment of Buddha and has walked for the welfare of sentient beings. I pay homage to the Buddha, the perfect Buddha. I pay homage to Manjushri, the Lord of wisdom and speech, whose wisdom is radiant like sun. Now, I hand over the forum to Dr. Deepika Chamoli Shahi, founder and director, Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting, to introduce the organization to the audience. Over to you, Dr. Deepika.
Thank you, Mrs. Neetu Sharda, for handing over the forum. I'm Dr. Deepika Chamoli Shahi, founder and director of Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting. So, to introduce the organization, our organization is a mental health consulting organization and it is India-based company registered under Uttarakhand government. It was founded by me in the year 2020 under the advisory of Professor Dr. Rita Kumar, Senior Professor, Department of Psychology, Amity University, Noida, and Dr. Colonel Chetan Sharda, who's a retired medical officer from Army and presently serving with Moon Hospital in the capacity of HOD Critical Care. His specialization is in diabetology. The aim of the organization is to be the world-class promotive, preventive, and curative mental health service provider, as presently, mental health is the biggest challenge. There are three objectives of our organization. First is to enhance mental health at the global level through preventive and curative services, because mental health is the biggest challenge right now, especially during the crisis situation. To spread awareness regarding the significance of mental health through promotive services, because awareness leads to prevention. And the third objective is to promote academic and research activities through conference, webinars, seminars, and workshops to bridge the gap between theoretical and practical arena in the mental field. There are four verticals of Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting. First vertical is Mental Health Consulting Services, wherein we support our clients in leading a happy and a holistically healthy life. Second vertical is Educative Services, wherein we provide internships to our aspiring psychologists and counselors to bridge the gap so that they can have hands-on experience practically. Second is we provide certifications to the aspiring mental health professionals in psychometrics and psychotherapy. We also conduct conferences, webinars, seminars, workshops to update the existing knowledge, because updation is a need of an hour. Our third vertical is behavioral training vertical, wherein we provide behavioral training like stress training, stress coping, time management, conflict management, leadership to the corporates and various other organizations, including hospitals. And our fourth vertical is career counseling vertical, where we guide the students regarding their future so that they can become successful. There are many future projects of Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting, but we would like to launch these two certifications today on this auspicious occasion. First certification is Certification for Psychological Health of Pregnant Women and Family. As we all are aware that pregnant women undergo emotional turmoil, and it's not only the lady who is undergoing it, it's everybody who is connected emotionally and physically with the lady. So the whole family needs psychological upliftment, because the lady is nurturing a life inside her. Positive emotions means positive life, and negative emotions means negative life. So we will teach the women how to transform positive emotions, negative emotions into positive, and enhance the holistic well-being of the baby inside the womb. Second certification is a certification of psychological health of the cancer patients. As we all know that anybody who is ill is psychologically compromised. Now you think about the cancer patients who each and every moment think about the death. They do not enjoy the present moment. They are not mindful of the present moment because of the negative emotions and because of the emotional turmoil. So it is our duty to help them and support them to transform those negative emotions into positive so they can be in the present, so they can be with the present, in the present, and for the present. And if they are able to unconditionally accept themselves, others, and the environment, their life can become good. So these are the two certifications that we'll be launching in the month of November 2021. So we are looking for collaborations from different organizations for these two projects. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Rita Kumar, the advisor of Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting, Senior Professor from Department of Psychology, Amity University, to take the conference ahead. Over to you, Rita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepika, for introducing this organization and not only introducing but establishing this organization and dedicating yourself for this service of the psychology, service of the humanity. Look, I really congratulate you for the establishment of organization and for the initiating this conference. I would like to pay my gratitude, first of all, to everyone present here, and specifically to all the dignitaries on the dais, those who are going to enlighten the audience today. Because without the collaboration and the cooperation of everyone, nothing can be successful. Because all of you have joined the hand with Speaking Cube to make it successful, I congratulate to every participant, everybody who has joined the hand for this conference, so that we can bring whatever we all desire and want in our life. Before introducing the conference, I would like to say that this conference is going to provide a mindset mantra for living, thriving, flourishing, and a happy life to everyone whosoever will participate here. And this mantra which we are going to get here is that happiness is here and now, not in if and when, because usually we live the life in if and when. But this mindfulness conference is going to bring us to learn everything is here and now. So enjoy this present moment where you are at present and thrive and live the life fully. Second thing which is important here, we are going to receive here is that self-love. I am always fully present in the moment. Everybody, if you like, you can note down this and revise it daily. You will really love yourself. I am always fully present in the moment. Next, I realize that my life energy is eternal. I value my life enough to take actions today as well as tomorrow. Every day, I find the courage to persevere. I choose to honor my highest potential. So with this mindset, with this note, I would like to introduce the conference which is going to give us this mantra of living, flourishing, thriving, and very happy life. So this conference is a virtual international conference. This is the first conference being organized by the Speaking Cube. So that is why this conference is the, we can say, starting point of a new journey of a Speaking Cube. And with the blessings of all of you, this is going to be a very successful conference. Then theme of this conference is mindfulness in action to create a fairer world. If we see around the world, so many problems, turmoils we are seeing because people are not living life mindfully. If we start living life mindfully, then life is a beautiful journey and very happy and peaceful journey we all are going to enjoy, so that we will create a fairer world. Next slide, please. Dr. Deepika, next slide, please. The aim of this conference is to discuss the scientific mindful strategies for a better world, because science is very important. Yes, we are having so many philosophies and all, but till the time every philosophy is not tested scientifically, we cannot make people to get benefit of it. So that is why here we will be discussing everything in a very scientific manner. Mindfulness is a philosophy, but understanding it in a scientific way will make us to imbibe it in our daily life. The objective of this conference is to address the issues related to mental health and provide solutions based on mindfulness in different facets of life. Because mindfulness is that which we cannot say is useful in this, not useful in that. It is useful in all the facets of life. Yes, next slide. The theme of this conference is mindfulness in action to create a fairer world, because we all are thriving and we all are desiring to have a world where we all can live a very peaceful and happy life. So this is the theme of this conference. Sub-themes are mindful parenting. We know the parenting is a very tough task. All those who are parents here can realize and would have realized it, that it's not an easy task. Then being mindful in the parenting is very important. Mindfulness in crisis, very important. This topic is there. Mindful work-life balance, because we all are struggling between the work and the life, though the work is a part of our life. But really, this conflict is always there. Mindful economic behavior. Finances are important. Economy is important. Being mindful about the economy is important. Mindfulness in day-to-day life. Mindful financial management. Mindfulness in clinical practices. Then positive thinking and mindfulness, mindful strategies in professional life, and mindful emotional management for productive life, because life has to become very productive. And the some themes are, uh, this conference is sponsored by MyFab 11 virtual gaming company, and we are really grateful to the MyFab 11 people, because they are really contributing a lot in the organization of this conference. Then Dr. Renu Mahesh Hospital, Sitapur, UP, they have also sponsored our conference. Then Smart Data Enterprises, California Institute of Hypnosis, and Gurgaon. So whatever we are organizing, these sponsors have played a great role in the organization of this conference. Thank you so much, all of you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Colonel Chetan Sharda, who is a retired army doctor. He is an advisor of Speaking Cube and HOD of critical care and diabetologist in. He is presently serving with Noon Hospital, Kota. He has served Indian Army for 25 years and has an overall experience of 30 plus years in handling patient and dealing with humanity. He believed that, sorry, he believed that, just a minute, please. He believed that medical profession cannot be served without being mindful. Dr. Chetan, over to you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am so sorry. I hope I was not interfering in some way, but I believe that, right. So I'm introducing my own topic, and that is being a medical professional, I would like to introduce of what we are going to speak about when we say integrating mindfulness in medical sciences or medical practices. So, first of all, thank you so much, everyone, to be there and for such patient listening up till now. And I would hope that we all continue with the same, and the effort should go on. The aim of improving humanity is everybody's job. But when there are like-minded people, then it becomes easier. And that is what we need to continue. Single-handedly, nobody can take up cuddles because we are burdened by civilizations and histories, and we all run around with the baggage. That baggage needs to be shared by everyone and subsequently help humanity in whichever way we can. Now, medical practices make a very important part of everybody's life. No Indian movie remains without a doctor. Nobody's life remains without our practices that we are doing, most of us, in this profession. So, starting right away, sorry for this small little glitch. Right. So the problem is, I think my slides would not be able to come. So we will let it be there. And I would like to continue with so that we don't waste any more time. Thank you. Okay. So the first one is, I would start with an example. This example comes from 25 years back, when almost 25 to 30 years back, I was sitting in front of the TV and watching a very mundane interview of supposedly a poet and an intellectual. And I am surprised that I'm talking about it 25 to 30 years later. Now, the thing was that this intellectual was being asked, a very aged gentleman was being asked a question as to what is the problem with the youth and the next generation, and how does he see it? And you know what his answer was? His answer was, what I think is, and he deliberated upon it for a little while, and then he said, I think they don't think before saying anything. Well, why am I talking about it now? Well, we all know for a fact that we are not mindful of what we speak, and that creates so much of hassles. Now, this problem that we have now spoken about, it's not the problem of the youth. We are addressing it at a very broad level. But it has come back in my life watching a very mundane interview. And the only reason why I remember it, because I was taken aback as to whether it's the truth or not, and why is he talking about youth per se. Now I realize that gentleman was very mindful about what he ever said. And that is why he was such a great intellectual. And that is what I learned from him inadvertently. Now, this being the example, what I'm trying to say is that this is the importance of what life teaches you. Now, mindfulness as I see it, and we would talk about in great details, but from the point of view of medical practices, there are mindfulness can be at very basal levels, at physical levels, and at materialistic levels. It would be being aware, is it? You know, there is a Hindi word for it. Mindfulness is Chetan. That means, incidentally, that happens to be my name, but am I living up to my name? Now, mindfulness at spiritual level is being awakened. That being said, let's move on to the next questions. Questions are very important. And these questions are what we are going to address in the coming time. And we'll come to a conclusion and then we will ultimately act upon it. The next question is there something opposite to mindfulness? Probably. And those two words that come, jump straight to my mind as being unmindful or mindless. But that's not the road that I'm going to travel today or ever again till the time I realize the potential of mindfulness. Next comes, the next question is, what is a medical practice? Addressing this issue right here is very important. There are two, there's a question mark and there is an exclamation mark. The question mark is that there are two words here. One is a medical and the second is the practice. Okay, we understand what is medical and the second is the practice. So why is it called a practice? Because practices are open-ended. They are an open-ended occupation. For example, we talk about practices in medicine and then we talk about legal practices because it's a matter of interpretation. There is a lot of, artistry involved in it. There is a lot of open-ended interpretations to whatever we do. Problem is that it is not as if the others, it is not the same as the others. Parenting is a practice, all right, it's open-ended, everything is there, and it has a lot of consequences. But the most important consequences are the ones that we do in medical practices. So that is why probably people talk a lot about practice of medicine. So that is why the definition, what is medical practice? Medical practice is the practice of medicine. So I have tried to say whatever I have. Unfortunately, whatever I say would be as per my experience. Why I say, because we are all logical people. We will have our own reasonings to say and own thoughts to share. That being said, that takes us to the big question. So what's the big deal? Why is medical practice different? So when we say that, there is nothing big deal about medicine or medical practice. The only thing is that the only thing why it is different is that it is, we are involved in saving lives and all the baggage that comes along with it in the form of complex human behavior and lots of emotions, which don't come. They are very difficult as we would go along, and every one of us, we will share not only data, but also our personal experiences subsequently. Apart from that, because it's a matter of questions and questions alone that will decide of how we will deal with it, why do I say it is so complex is because there are great expectations involved in this particular business of, medicine. So we would be, what I'm trying to say here or try and put across is the complexity that one deals with in this situation of medical practices. So those great expectations are the ones which the society has, which determine the complexity or the burgeoning complexity of medical practices. Now, so are we in some kind of business when we say medical practices? Yes, probably, yes. It is, the difficulty is that it cannot be a business, but it is today a business and it's a spiritual business. So people like it to be a spiritual business, but let's take the opposite of it versus, is it really the business of spirituality? I'm talking about, the medical practice per se. This is my take on it. Everybody is open to their thoughts ultimately. And, what is the need of mindfulness in medical practice? Well, there is a problem here. In medical practice, I come across daily people saying, you are like God, you are God, or something like that. That makes me feel, I don't know whether it is true or not. I mean, it has confused me over a period of time. Initially, it was very good for my ego, but then I realized that I was not being very mindful about where my ego was going. So I have practiced that and I have experienced that if you're not mindful, this statement can take you on the wrong path, wherein you're not helping either yourself, or you're not helping the society, or you're not even helping the patient. So are we talking about, is it a question of morality? Is a medical practice a question of morality? Probably, yes. It's a question of morality, most of it. So how do we address this question of morality, which is troubling us? So mindfulness, how does it help so we need to integrate it. There are three elements to the practice of medicine. Like in any other practice or in any other profession. But in our profession, there are three elements: the practitioner, the method of practice, or which I always say is a skill in the artistry of practicing, and the one practiced upon. The one practiced upon is the patient per se. So these three elements you need to be mindful of each one of them before we integrate mindfulness into medical practice. And we would be talking about subsequently in so many ways. Here, I would come to my last slide, and I'm so sorry for the glitch. I take this opportunity to say that there will be baby steps when we finish. Those baby steps are the ones which will take us a long way, and hopefully a very long way. What I have tried to say in these 15 minutes is simply this, that integrating medical practice with mindfulness is very important and will go a long, long way about the way we treat and the outcomes, which will be very satisfying. People are not satisfied with the way we are presently treating. There will be reasons. We can have our reasons as to why this is happening because of the expectations and everything. But then we need to improve. Who needs to improve? The medical fraternity needs to improve to integrate mindfulness, which is a wonderful tool, though it is in so many ways, it is something that has already been practiced for millions of years, but not by many people. So we need to share and we need to advance mindfulness for a better society, for a betterment, and feel more human. After all, being human is an experience and nobody should be bereft of it. And that is my take on whatever I'm saying. Here, I would like to thank you all for your patient listening and going through the glitch. But right now, I would also take this opportunity to invite Dr. Anil Prakash Joshi, a very, very eminent personality we have already spoken about. He is a Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan and a global green activist. I want you, sir, to start the day with your blessings. I think we will go a long way.
Thank you very much. And I was wondering that Deepika always try to do something which is not routine. And I think it's a very important. And this topic, this issue is very, very important, particularly when we do not know exactly where we are heading to. Why I'm saying so, I'm an environmentalist basically, and this mindfulness kind of a thing should begin with something I believe more important. And let us be very practical, very, very practical. Unless we become very practical, we'll be flying around. And that has been happening in the past too. What I'm saying is, we really need to relook, revisit about the human history. And when I say so, it is the earth I would like to come first to. The earth came sometime 4.6 billion years ago. And if we take 100 million 1 year, so it is hardly 46-year-old earth that we have. And God bless whatever way had been in the history, I do not know, but it was placed as a mother. And why it was called mother, great people they were who coined it as a mother, because every child, when it takes birth, a lot of pain the women has to go through, and then we get a child. That is how the mother earth have taken a pain, hell of the pain, and it is ultimately gave birth to the human. And let me tell you, as I said, 100 million years ago, 100 million year we take as 1 year. So it is hardly 46 year that we have the age of the earth, that a lady, middle-aged lady. And interestingly, if that is how we are trying to define, would define the age of the earth, the human species hardly came 3 to 4 hours ago on this earth. And not only that, the so-called industrial revolution and the one which damaged the whole system, and also the mindfulness which we are repeatedly have been saying, industrial revolution came because the comfort product we wanted to have, and we begin to damage the whole thing. And everything today we look at, the which we have been sometime finding that some disasters are hitting us. Then there are many others which are not uh, uh, which the fairer word, away from the fairer word. It is just half an hour ago only this human species which came, which mother earth gave rise to, spoiled everything. And the other creatures, other the lives on the earth, they were always contributing, and the human species had always been damaging by all standard, all virtues you can think of. We have been one species, and I think that should be the beginning. And that beginning will definitely realize us that how we have been doing. Why I'm saying so, whatever environment you are born with, naturally will behave like that. And the so-called mindfulness only come out of that. If you are born in a country where kuda kachra every child when born see in his street, see, he won't much understand what the hygiene is all. If he is born in the Switzerland and another part of the world where this is very important, there shouldn't be any kuda kachra. So naturally, in the beginning only, we inculcate in him the health hygiene issues. Here you look at, no child, no youth is any the worried about what is happening in the street. Oh, he are only up to his house where they want to keep it as a clean and so on. Today, if you look, the most important, most disastrous, which I think is that really need to see and contemplate, is the lifestyle. It is a lifestyle only, and globally, honestly and truly saying, that has pushed us to disarray and muddiness. That's the only thing which you will ultimately arrive to. Now, look what the consequences that we have with that lifestyle that we have been living globally. I would say maybe the population will be different in America, Switzerland, and Europe. And but ultimately, so-called development that we define, we reign after the development. And the development, if you know that it has never been defined, this word has never been in the history of the human, the word development. We had, if any word, which came from the Rishi Muni and some holy books and other things, ultimately it was totally different word. It was a prosperity. The development is a very bias. You see, you have been saying development of this, development of that. The prosperity is very inclusive. And unfortunately, we forgot the prosperity and we reign after the so-called development, and the damages are before you. As well, any product of development that we have been claiming that the development brings this and that, you will realize that they are in majority of cases the product comfort product. You are making a comfort product in all those so-called industrialization. You want a very clean, long and broad roads for running your so-called big car and other things. Now, all of them have been uh, damaging. And let me tell you, and we should all realize that what happened in the last 300 years, we brought ecological disparity and economic disparity. Look at economic disparity was all time seen in the past 100, 200 years. Is the poor, rich, rural, urban, they had always been there. But unfortunately, there is another disparity which you will see coming up, and that we call it the ecological disparity. Why I say ecological disparity? If would have gone to the last 2 decades disaster, the catastrophe, the ecological mishappening, who ultimately was more sufferer? You will find that those who were saving the ecosystem. You see, yes, day before yesterday only must have read the news and they watched TV that what happened in Kumaon of Uttarakhand. See, the flash flood took everything away. Now, who is the Uttarakhand? Uttarakhand is the one state and the Himalayan states who are saving forests, where from the Ganga, Yamuna and many rivers comes, and those who give you the quality air and many other things, that ecosystem services, you are all aware. Now, those who are making ecosystem services are ultimately the sufferer, and it is called ecological disparity. Ecological disparity, people living in the cities and the towns and the big places, metropolitan, consume more of the ecosystem products rather than the rural people. What I'm saying, if you look, the people living in the urban areas or the urban guys do not know where from the water comes. They only know the tank on their overheads, I mean on the roof, or they must be knowing that the definition of a water would be totally different to them than to a rural guys who knows this is a river, it is a well, it is a pond, it's a lake where the water comes through the nature and the nature way of bringing resources to us. So there is the one who is consuming more of the ecosystem, the air, water, soil. They are unfortunately adding more to the pollution. What is at Delhi happening? You are India is the top country in the world where there we have pollution, extreme pollution, and also the water scarcity looming large. But you know, those who are consume more and more, they do not contribute. Principle of nature says consumer must be a contributor. And where they contribute, everybody, it's very clear. Nobody knows what the river, what is the science of a river, what is the science of nature. We do not know. We are only in this whole earth became a consumer. We never wanted to contribute, never thought of contributing the same. And unfortunately, this all happened. The product were rich and poor. And irony is the rich guy do not even well eat. Dr. Saab is sitting in front of me. When you become more and more richer, Naturally, the quality of food, we are denied that you should not eat that, should not do that. So you lose your food and miss your food because the richness devoid you, prevent you eating something which a very poor guy can do. But unfortunately, the food is not available, both of them. The one who is richest, who can manage, can't eat because of the health, and the poorest, he does not have. So look at this world where the rich and poor, they are not eating well. So ultimately, we have to find what the reasons are all about. Remember, I met one of the very richest guy of the country you can imagine. You can imagine who I must be taking. I'm not taking the name. I met his wife, and her father-in-law was very sick. He's no more. I just was speaking to her. What happened the last days? She said to me, "Well, Dr. Joshi, unfortunately, he was not very well at his last days. He was in the morning used to eat papaya, and in the lunch also the papaya, and in the dinner also the papaya. I was wondering, if the papaya was to only eat, why should he gather so much of wealth? So this is here where really we need to share, think, and so-called mindfulness, which we wanted to bring through such a debate. Now I'm coming. See, unfortunately, Mother Earth pain we do not share. The first thing that came as a life on the earth was called Luca, last universal common ancestor. And it was it was also called superhero. Superhero because they survive with the sulfur dioxide and methane, which the human can't afford. Dr. Saab is sitting currently. It survived with the methane and sulfur dioxide, and in turn produced oxygen, which is a lifeline to all of us. Now this superhero sacrificed his life for all of us. The earth, Mother Earth was where those things were happening to produce oxygen, and ultimately after having an oxygen, the diversity in the lives came, mammal came, and many lives that came, the diversity you are all aware with. And ultimately apes, mammals, and it was human species. The Mother Earth took 4.6 billion years to produce a man, a human, who we are discussing about mindfulness. Now that human, you see, Homo sapiens, the first came Homo habilis, then came Homo erectus, and then ultimately great super devil Homo sapiens, which did what? It did not care for anything other than other lives that on earth, encroached their system also, and was of simple one target future. They decided that the better life, comfort life is the best one, and they begin to manage the richest mind community that the Mother Earth produced was the most damaging one. And I think whenever we wanted to make a fairer world, the history of the life and the sacrifice that had been done in the past by the different lives should also come in the picture whenever we are discussing. Now, what happened? Now, this human species, Homo sapiens, had one point agenda: how best they can lead a life, and what they can best gather. They forgot that whatever they're gathering is from in nature, and the nature principle, as I said, consumer must be a contributor. Never thought of it, and the results are with us. You must be knowing that the number of lives corona had taken, that was a part of the ultimately place, that it was also the product of nature. Unfortunately, when we are not hearing Mother Earth pain and so on, it is the corona will take over, and this happened. Now we really need to know that we as a human handful of people who are intoxicated with the wealth and the power take a decision. And I have to tell you that when you are intoxicated, you cannot take do a justice for others. When I say other human also, another creature also, we cannot do. We cannot do justice. We are all intoxicated. And the other guys who are also intoxicated, which are very poor, because they are poisoned because of the deprivation they have been suffering with. So I think if we really want to know and want to bring back the fairer world, let us go to the history of the earth and see what we are doing. And I believe that we are currently living in such a world and where we cannot make it as a fairer world unless we have integral thinking for all. We cannot isolate other things whenever we have been working on, debating on, discussing the issues like this. It has to be integral thinking. And the birth and the death, these are very important issues. And we really need to all time explain to everyone that what the life is and that the responsibility of ours between the two, death and the birth and the death, need to be that we are also born for humanity. We are also born for other services. That has to be, and then only we will be taking a decision which we call through a mindfulness. And I would like to add at the end, the nature and our nurturing are in two different directions. What we train our coming generation, we educate them, try to see that they get the best education and the best of the school that we try to find out. And we want to make them machine. We are not making them human. You are making them a machine. You take this trade and you become X, Y, Z. But well, that was wonderful because that has to be the part of a service of the human. That may be something good, but at the same time, we really need to integrate the social values, the cultural values, which we had in the past. We are totally lost. So I think current nurturing is against the nature, and realize the fact that you cannot survive without nature. Rich you may be, or you go to any height. You cannot survive without water, soil, air, and it is ultimately nature give it to you. And sustainability, a word which often have been coming in the international national meetings and discussion happens around that sustainability. I am always was wondering what this sustainability is, because this word came in 1972 in Stockholm. International guys sat together and decided there has to be sustainability. Ever since, let me know what is sustainable. Let me come to the environment front. What is sustainable? Do you think that your rivers are sustainable? Your glacier are sustainable? Your economy is sustainable? That Corona time, whole GDP had gone to the hell. It hasn't come yet at the surface because all government are worried about economic the condition of the different countries they are suffering with. So what I'm trying to say, what is sustainable? If anything sustainable, let us know. Nothing is sustainable. It is because of simple reason. We failed to understand first to the earth and our birth. These are two were not connected. Why we are on the earth and why the earth made us full of mind and we lost the mindfulness. That is what happened in the past. Thank you very much. This is what I wanted to share with all of you. You are all very intelligent people. I think more important is that having spoken on different streams, it is more important collectively try to bring change in the society, aptitude. Then only I think we will be able to, we will deserve to have meetings of this nature. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joshi, for giving us a very different view. But I would like to say, listening to you, I remembered the words of a psychologist who said that human life originated on the earth because those apes, those creatures who wanted to win over the nature. The human origin somewhere psychologically was to defeat, to combat with the nature, and they originated for this purpose. But what you have given a new perspective here and talking about since the origin of the earth, and given the perspective how old the human life is here on this earth. And this is a really very nice thing today we come to know. And we have listened about this. And thank you so much, Dr. Joshi, for giving us a combination and collaboration of how the environment and how the psychology are together, and how this mindfulness, because yes, origin of the life on this earth is very mindful process of the nature. It is not that it originated without means without giving the proper intention of the nature. It was really very successful origin of the life on this earth. And when life originated, it was a fairer world. Every or a creature has originated, and the life was growing in a very nice and very fairer manner. But as the human has originated, and they had a desire of power, they had a desire of possessions, so they start controlling, and they try to control the nature and the other things and create a beautiful world for them. But they were not mindful about the destructions they are causing onto this earth and to the environment as well. And environment is an ecosystem, which I believe is an ecosystem which is making human life possible on this earth. So this all has given a very good perspective. Dr. Joshi, your deliberation has reflected how much experience and how much depth, thoughtfulness you have reflected in every word of you. Really very nice to listen you. I have listened so many times about you, and I think you remember we met when we were returning from Chadham, and it was a very short meeting. But really, I always listen from Dr. Deepika about you and your work. So it is a really wonderful work you are doing, and we would like to, so that we can work together also to do something where the psychology and your expertise are combined and creating something very different for this humanity, because this is the time when humanity requires to change, requires to modify. I was reading a book. In that book, the author has wrote that seeing the world today, it seems that humanity has taken a wrong turn. Humanity was going on very nicely, but somewhere it has taken a wrong turn. Because of that wrong turn, this humanity has taken the shape where human is becoming the enemy of other human and the species which are important for their own survival. But this wrong turn, again, we have to take a U turn to go towards the fairer world, where we all will present here will be collaborating with each other. And this is the main motto, this is the main intent behind this conference, so that people from different arena, different area will collaborate and will work, will have a same mindful thinking to create the world where we all will be living happily. Because when you said is life is coexistence, very beautifully you have said everything about the coexistence. Nobody can live in isolation. Wherever, as you have given example of the rich man was eating only papaya. This is the main thing. Very beautiful example you have given, because people think that earning money and possession is the aim of the life. But the aim of the life, if we run and we chase this money, then what ends is, as you said, we'll be eating only one thing, that is papaya. So that then what we are doing in this life, we need to create this world very mindfully. And even the possessions are important, but the possessions can be not that much, which is making us to be limited in the consumption of some healthy diet even. So that is the main thing which I think your deliberation has benefited and made us thoughtful about so many things. Thank you so much, Dr. Joshi, for being here with us. And we will be looking forward to be collaborating with you for so many other projects and so many other works also.
Sure, we will welcome
Thank
that.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our new next speaker. Next speaker is, just give me a minute. The next speaker is our VC of CIBS. He is Professor Dr. Baidyanath Labh. I think Dr. Labh has joined us. Dr. Deepika, has he joined us?
Yes, ma'am. Labh sir is there with us.
Okay,
I'm
thank you
with
so
you.
much.
I'm with you,
Thank you
Rita ji.
so much. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And so nice to see you here, sir. I was listening many things about you, but this is the first opportunity to meet you virtually. And we'll be looking forward to meeting you in face-to-face sometime. So I have a great honor and opportunity to introduce you to this platform, to this conference. Dr. Labh is Vice-Chancellor of CIBS University, and he is also being the Vice-Chancellor of Nav Nalanda Mahavira University. So he is such a, you can say, what eminent person he is. He is being the Vice-Chancellor of the two universities at present and taking care of them very nicely. He has eminence of years of experience. Means you can understand what level he is. So he has a great experience in the field. And main thing is there, he is teaching Buddhist philosophy, which is the journey of this mindfulness. Because whatever mindfulness we talk in whatever nation, whatever, wherever we are talking and we are practicing, so it is important for us to know that this is the origination of this mindfulness is from Buddhism. And Buddha's teachings have made us to be mindful in all the arenas and spheres of our life. And I'm thankful to Dr. Labh because being even having the health constraints, he is here with us. This shows that the how much passionate and how much dedicated he is towards the scientific world and this mindfulness. He is a true example of it. So I hand over this dice to you, Dr. Labh, and to just enlighten us all and how you are working and how you are really getting this courage and strength, even having the health constraints, to be with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Labh, for being with us.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Namaskar to all the friends who have joined this platform on virtual level. Dr. Anil Prakash Joshi ji, I have just heard him. Rita ji, Deepika ji, and all other friends. Because of my some surgery that I have undergone, I'm not in position to talk much. But whatever little I understand, I would like to share with you, because mindfulness is, just Rita ji was telling, this is the key figure or key concept in Buddhism. Even if whatever we listen to, if we are not mindful, if we are not aware, if we are not conscious, then many words come and go. They simply pass, enter into our ears and they go away. They just, we touch and everything is washed away. So mindfulness has been given utmost emphasis in Buddhism, particularly. Not only in Buddhism, in the whole Sanatan tradition. And since I'm a student of Buddhist studies, we all of us have heard the name, and many of might have undergone this Vipassana meditation. I'll try to focus my attention on that only, because this Vipassana meditation is nothing but the awareness of mind. And to see that, suppose sometimes what you find, we are angry, or we are very happy, or we are very sad. We are not usually in the observer's mood and that mode. We don't understand whether
this happiness or sadness or anger, that is going on, that is happening. So the Buddha always says that you try to observe those things in the Vipassana meditation also, because there are four legs of Vipassana. There's Kaya-nupassana, Vedana-nupassana, Chitta-nupassana, Dhamma-nupassana. Then the Kaya-nupassana is to observe your body and physical activities that are happening. Just I mentioned that when we are angry, we don't understand that we are angry. The moment we try to understand that, okay, this anger is going on within me, that anger vanishes. So the involvement, the mode of observing things, that is the figure of, that is the fundamental of mental awareness. In the Eightfold Path also, when the Buddha says Samma Sati or Samyak Smriti, right mindfulness, that is what? Right mindfulness, we have to see what is happening, what sort of emotions are going on in our mind. And the same has been emphasized in the process of Vipassana. This is mindfulness. So the Buddha says that how to concentrate our mind, why we are polluted mentally. The moment we start looking at those things in observer's mode, then we become able to understand ourselves. Suppose that's why the Buddha says that while starting the Vipassana meditation, first of all, he focuses on the observation of our breathing. Anapan sati, an and apan, that the breathing that we take in and the breathing that we take out or give out. So there, if we practice in our own life, we can very easily understand how fast it helps in concentration of mind. And because we do not care for this concentration, we are engrossed with innumerable things. We are involved in so many things, in bad as well as good, and that is why that the Buddha says that is the reason of all Krishna, all craving, all desires. And that is at one place he says that if a person has thousands of desires, his suffering will also be in thousands. If he has hundreds of desires, his suffering will also be in hundreds. If he has tens of desires, his suffering will also get reduced to 10. If he has only one desire or one craving, his suffering will be one. And if he has no desire, then suffering will be no, there won't be any suffering. Of course, it's very easy to say. It's very difficult to overcome all those desires. But this is possible through meditation, and Vipassana meditation is one of the very successful and very popular methods of that. So to reduce, because the Buddha says that it is because of desire or craving that we suffer. So just to reduce those desires, there will be a different question, why to reduce desires, and if there is no desire, how can we work? What will be the motivation of working? That is a different issue, which has been preached by Lord Krishna also in Gita. Anasakt Karm Yoga, detachment, action with detachment. So of course that is a different issue. I'll come to that later. But how to reduce, because of this involvement, because of this craving, we are all engrossed with various types of suffering. So if we want really to have peace if we really want to overcome those desires or those sufferings, we have to have a check on our desires, on our cravings, unnecessarily cravings. That is why when the Vipassana meditation courses start, first there is focus on the control of or the observation of what, our breathing, because that is the beginning point. And I have also practiced Vipassana. I do it in my daily work, daily routine, and we find that mind, the nature of mind is fickle. It does not stop at any one place, and it roams from one place to another place, and within moments. If we think of going to sun, yes, we are on sun. If we think of going beyond the black hole, we go beyond that. So mind, the movement of mind is very fickle, and because of that only, we have all instability in our life, different types of suffering or sorrows, and so that's why there is need of controlling our emotions, our mental movements. So that is why there is need of vipassana or controlling, to have a control on desires, and for that, to check the moment of mind, we think of or we go for vipassana. So first of all, there is need of controlling our movement, or that for that is breathing control. Observation of breathing is important. Anapansati, number of steps are there. So I won't take much time. I'm also not very well physically. So kaya nupassana means to observe the whole movements or what are happening in our body. We have lot of craze or lot of love, attachment for body only. So the Buddha says that there are three characteristics of phenomena. That is sarvam dukkham, sarvam anityam, sarvam dukkham, sarvam anatmam. Everything is impermanent, everything is subject to suffering, and there is no permanent substance. So to realize these three truths, we have many things to observe in our body, and the moments, the happenings that are going on in our body. So we have to think that this my body, with which I have a lot of attachment. I don't want to become old, but I cannot stop my old age. I don't want to die, but I have to die. So this is impermanent. And if there is impermanence, then there will be, this is subject to suffering and all that. So to see that what are the things or changes going on in our body, to observe those happenings, those incidents, that is the observation of body, kaya nupassana. Then is chittanupassana. Chit means consciousness, mind. In general term, we call mind, but in Buddhist psychology, there is mind has two components. One is consciousness, that is chitta, and another is chetasik, that is psychic factors. So the chitta is that which thinks. In Pali, it has been defined as chinteti iti chittang. That which thinks is mind, is consciousness. So we all of us know that the moment or the movement of consciousness is so swift, so fast, that it does not stop at any particular point or particular subject for very for longer time. That is why how to just check the movement of mind. So in the Vipassana meditation, the second component is Chittanupassana, to see to observe the fickleness of mind, and through that to check the movement. And the third one is Vedananupassana. I'm sorry. The second was Vedananupassana. Vedana feeling. Suppose Vedana is not simply, should not be limited to sorrowful feeling only. It may be pleasant feeling, it may be indifferent feeling, it may be pleasant feeling, like that. So this Vedana, this feeling is also not the same all the time. Suppose usually I cite one example, that if you are passing by some place and we find that there is a crowd, someone has made some accident, and we start our heart, just breathing, we start breathing very fast. What has happened? If there is somebody dear to us who has met accident, and we find that no, it was our enemy. So the first we find very sorry, and the moment we know that, oh, he's my enemy, I become very happy. Oh, it has good that he has met an accident. My enemy has met an accident. If we pass by, only some unknown person has met an accident, we feel indifference. So the incident is the same, but we react in three different ways, either in a pleasant way, or in a sorrowful way, or in different way. So these are three types of, broadly, these three types of emotions are there, feelings are there, and we have to check our feelings. We have to go towards indifference. That is not indifference, unanimity. So that way, Vedananupassana, Chittananupassana is of course, I have already told that this is movement of mind. And the last one is Dhammanupassana. This is the realization of the nature of things, nature of the world. So that way, one question may be asked: if we become indifferent, then what will happen? Then will it lead to inaction also? निष्क्रिय हो जाए हम लोग क्या इसके लिए? तो it has been very beautifully preached by Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, anasakt but karma yoga. That karma yoga will be there, action will be there, but that will detach the action. When Arjun gets perplexed, confused, should I kill my uncle? Should I kill my grandfather? Should I kill my nephew? Then what sort of gain I will get from that war? And Lord Krishna says, no. What do you think of yourself? Do you have knowledge only of this modern or the current life? And someone appears to be your father, someone appears to be your mother, someone appears to be your uncle, someone appears to be your cousin. But in the past life, you do not know, you neither remember or neither know about your past life, what we are there, nor you know about the future life, next life. So this is simply a present scenario, but you have to think in a different way, that you are simply a nimitta, simply a means. And that is why the Buddha, of course, does not believe in that Atma or like that, but the Buddhism also talks of and believes in the theory of karma and past and future life. So that is why in Buddhism also, this unattached or detached action has been emphasized, and that is why this is all happens, or it can all happen because of this mindfulness. Whatever we do, we must be conscious that I'm doing such things, such actions, whether good or bad or whatsoever. So that is why this mindfulness has been given the utmost importance in Buddhism. And I'm very happy that my colleague from CIBS, Lobdang Sultrim, is also there. And all my colleagues, I congratulate all of you that you have taken up such a good subject. I'm sorry that I could not attend or could not get the things earlier. I would otherwise I would have been more prepared to talk in more details. So once again, I extend my all the best wishes to you for this beautiful topic that you have taken up, and grand success to the conference webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom, and we are highly motivated with the pearls you have just shared on this platform. And I am 100% sure that all of us are going to get the benefit in our day-to-day life. And in the capacity of founder and director of Speaking Cube, I would like to share that Speaking Cube will always be for all the projects for the benefit of mankind for both Nav Nalanda University and CIBS, sir. So thank you so much. Thank you once again for your words of wisdom, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Christopher Willard, faculty, Harvard Medical School, a clinical psychologist and an educational consultant, and a multiple-time TEDx speaker. He has been practicing mindfulness for about 20 years, and he has been teaching mindfulness for more than 12 years. He is a multi-talented personality and a good friend of mine who has always been there as far as mindfulness is concerned. And presently, along with the faculty position in Harvard Medical School, he is serving as a board of directors at the Institute of Meditation and Psychotherapy. Over to you, Christopher, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamoli. It's a pleasure to be here. We became friends many years ago on LinkedIn, I believe, and have stayed in touch ever since then, and hopefully at some point getting to spend some time together in person. It's really an honor to be here and to follow you up, Dr. Labh. Wonderful to hear some of your words and perspectives as well, especially Buddhist perspectives on mindfulness, where of course so many of these practices and these concepts really begin to originate, and I hope that we can find some ways to collaborate at some point in the future. So I'm here, I'll just say a few words from my perspective about some of the American, some of the Western perspectives on mindfulness. And my belief that during these past few years, it's not surprising if we look at our culture, not just in the US, of course, but globally, that there's been suddenly this explosion in interest in mindfulness. If we look to history, we can see that every time things begin to shift in one direction in society, there often is a counterbalance as we become more and more busy, as we become more and more of a overwhelmed society, stressed out, multitasking, digital, modern age society, trying to do so many different things at once. It's no wonder at the same time that this interest in mindfulness and simply bringing our awareness to one thing at a time with deliberate intention has grown. And with it, of course, these amazing side effects that tend to come out of mindfulness. Less stress, better mental health, better functioning, more happiness. So many wonderful things that come out of this that our societies have been lacking as we undergo a mental health crisis around the world of all ages. And that hopefully with the introduction and reintroduction of mindfulness in this challenging time, we can start to shift some of that trajectory back toward more happiness, back toward more single tasking rather than multitasking. At the beginning of the pandemic, it became even more apparent how much an importance in mindfulness could be or would be. It was last March that things began to shut down here in the US. I remember sitting with my wife and my children. My children were home from school when they said it was just going to be 2 weeks that we were all home, and then we'd be back out of quarantine and back to work and so many things like that. And I turned to my wife and I said, I think the kids are always going to remember this time. The children will always remember this time. And my wife's job is actually, she's a medical historian. She studies the ways that plagues and pandemics change the course of history from ancient times all the way through the present. So she's been very interested in what's happening in the last year and a half and seeing many things as they come, many trends, many changes. And she just looked at me and she said, everyone's going to remember this pandemic time. They'll talk about the pandemic of 2020 in 100 years, maybe even 1,000 years. And I was thinking about this a lot, and at the beginning of the pandemic, I remember looking around online on social media, and so many people that I knew were posting things like, I'm going to learn 5 languages, or I'm going to run a marathon inside of my living room, running in place, or something like that. And thinking about all these things people wanted to do at the beginning of the pandemic, what they were going to do with all this free time. And I actually thought back a little bit to one of the greater Western teachers of mindfulness, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. And he says, we've gone from human beings to becoming human doings. And how can we shift back a little bit so that we're human beings again, and not just doing all the time? And to me, at that point, so early in the pandemic, I thought, maybe the thing I want to do, that we all could stand to do a little bit in this pandemic, is maybe worry a little bit less about what it is that we want to do and think more about how we want to be. How we want to be in terms of what are our values? Do we want to be that person that races off to the store, off to the market, takes that last bag of rice or that last little bit of food? Or do we want to be the kind of person who checks in with our neighbors and maybe says, hey, I'm going to the store. What can I pick you up from the store? What can I get you from the market today? And when we act in these ways, with deliberate mindfulness and compassion for our fellow human beings, right? We know from the Dharma that the great bird arises, right? One wing of wisdom, one of compassion. How can we be more wise, more mindful, more compassionate, more deliberate in everything that we do? And what starts to happen as individuals when we act in these ways is that these changes actually slowly begin to spread to the people around us. So many of our emotions are contagious. Our negative emotions, stress is contagious, worry is contagious, sadness is contagious. More and more of the research that social scientists and that we psychologists are doing is on this idea of emotional contagion. But the amazing thing is that our positive emotions are also contagious. Happiness is contagious, joy, laughter. We all know what it's like to laugh when a laugh ripples around a room. Excitement is contagious. Curiosity is contagious. And mindfulness is contagious and goes viral and actually spreads and accelerates other positive emotions at the same time. We know from the research that parents who practice mindfulness have better communication with their children, more happiness in the whole family, fewer accidents in the home. Just when one parent in a family begins to practice mindfulness. I work a lot in education. Educators who practice mindfulness, even if they never teach mindfulness to the students are calmer, they're performing better, they're coming to school more often, they're doing better on tests. I work as a psychologist, as a clinical psychologist. The patients heal faster when their therapists practice mindfulness, that doctors and medical professionals who practice mindfulness, they have greater trust with their patients who follow their orders and advice and get better faster as well. In recent years, we've been studying actually the ways that just simply people who live together, roommates or people that are married to each other, when one person is practicing mindfulness, the people that they're living with are happier. And then if they stop practicing for a week, the people they live with get less happy. And so they're less satisfied with the relationship. So it's amazing to watch, actually, that the benefits of mindfulness are not just limited to us as individuals, but actually begin to spread out to the people around us. The ability to focus, the ability to be happier, better mood, better mental health, better physical health, stronger immune system. These begin to spread and shift outward from person to person to person. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I remember reading an article where someone was talking about how can we help our children in the course of the pandemic. And I do a lot of work working with families and young people and studying child development. They said, well, you can imagine that you're on an airplane and you're flying along in the airplane and then suddenly there's like a bump and everyone starts looking around. Oh my gosh, what's happening, right? Did the wing fall off? And then the pilot gets on and says something like, ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some turbulence. Everyone calms down. Okay, it's turbulence. We've checked in with air traffic control and we're going to take a slightly different flight path, but we're going to get you to your destination. We're just going to be there safely, but be a few minutes behind schedule. And please stay in your seat and don't move about the cabin. And then everyone's able to calm back down, go back to doing their crossword puzzles or their Sudoku puzzles, reading the paper. And what the pilot's done is that they've really set the tone that even in this difficult time of turbulence in the aircraft, when they're able to name it and begin to settle everybody down, then everyone themselves can start to settle down. Just that one person, everyone begins to calm down. So we can see this in the way that mindfulness trickles down between people, trickles across people, calming us all down during incredibly difficult times. We see all kinds of research on the ways that mindfulness begins to settle down the nervous system, especially during these times when we're anxious, going into fight or flight mode. And that blocks actually other important neurohormones in our brains. We have cortisol flowing through us when we're under this stress, and it blocks oxytocin, which is the chemical that actually allows us to feel safe, secure, attached to other people, to do the caregiving that we want to do. The brain's limbic system, the amygdala, activates and it shuts down actually the prefrontal cortex, where we think things through and we make good decisions. We solve complex problems. We're creative. That starts to get shut down. It shuts down the more social, loving parts of our brain, where we take other people's perspective, we have empathy, we have compassion, we understand where other people are coming from. And yet when we begin to practice mindfulness, even just a little bit each day, in both formal ways and informal ways, we reverse this cycle. We activate the prefrontal cortex, the insular cortex in the brain, where we can think things through and take other people's perspective, have more love and empathy, and act in kinder, in more generous ways. This starts to rewire our brains so that we actually grow new connections in these parts of our brains. Because we know in the research, it tells us that neurons that fire together wire together. My friend Sarah Lazar at Harvard Medical School has also scanned the brains of people when they practice mindfulness and found these incredible brain changes, actually making our brains younger than before we begin to practice mindfulness. They start to shift even the way our genes express themselves through epigenetics. Researchers from Johns Hopkins and other places have started to discover actually the ways that it activates certain gene sequences to communicate that the world is a safe place or a dangerous place, and that these can themselves get passed on to the next generation, even 3 degrees downward, 3 generations downward. So that when we start practicing mindfulness, even if we've been through difficult experiences in our lives, and our genes start to communicate that the world is a dangerous place and to go into fight or flight more readily, it actually starts to say, no, the world is an okay place. It's safe to connect with other people. It's safe to be generous and kind and sharing and mindful. And our grandchildren, the way their genetic material expresses itself is actually then different just because of our practice of mindfulness. We release serotonin, which regulates our mood and anxiety, oxytocin, that love hormone, dopamine, the feel-good reward neurotransmitter, when we start practicing mindfulness. Again, even just a little bit each day. So that over time, these practices are not just helpful for us, they certainly make us happier and more optimistic, but that ripples out to our friends and to our families around us. It trickles down across generations so that a few practices each day start to make a difference, not just to us, but actually to our families, to our communities, to our societies, and perhaps even to the whole world, which is what we're starting to see in this new modern mindfulness movement that we've seen emerging, at least here in the US, over the last 30 years. But of course, you've had centuries, millennia of over in India. But to bring our cultures together, to bring the science and the scientific discoveries of the West together with these incredible ancient teachings that so many of us are speaking about today and this weekend, is just so inspiring for creating, hopefully, a better, kinder, more generous, more mindful world going forward in the future. So I want to thank all of my co-presenters at this conference. I want to thank Dr. Chamoli, my old friend, and I look forward to hearing some of the other speakers and to be joining with you, even though it's in the middle of the night for me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So thank you all so much for your presence today and for your presence over the next few days.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christoph, for your enlightening words and the techniques that you have shared, which we can use in practical life to be mindful. It's really enlightening. And we all are running for bread, for success, and for fame. And in the process, we forget to be mindful. And yes, thank you so much once again for taking out time. That too, you are from a different time zone. It's the mid of night, and you are here with us. We are really grateful that you have joined on time and you have shared your valuable words with the audience. And to be there always for the good work. Whenever we invite you in Speaking Cube, you never say no, and you're always there as a good friend and as a good human being. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Lobsang Sultan Bhutia, who is a professor of Buddhist philosophy from Central Institute of Buddhist Studies, Leh Ladakh. Professor Bhutia has spent half of his life in teaching and learning deep mindful practices. He has more than 20 years of experience as far as mindfulness is concerned. He has authored many books on Buddhist philosophy and especially mindful strategies. And currently, Professor Bhutia is associated with Speaking Cube Mental Health Consulting in a certification. So he is the mindfulness and meditation expert for both the certification for pregnant ladies and certification for the onco patients. Now, I would like to invite Professor Bhutia. Please share the words of wisdom. Professor Bhutia, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Deepika Chamoli. First of all, I'd like to pay my grateful homage to my root guru. Because of him, today I am here. Whatever I'm going to say, because of him. If in my today's lecture, if there is any error, and it's because of me. So with this, the note of acknowledgement, today I'm going to say something about the mindfulness, what I think about mindfulness. Because I think that mindfulness is the key, is the only key to get happiness. It's like a panacea. All, it's like a panacea. Because in Tibetan tradition, there are 4 types of, Mahayana tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. The first one, the Nyingma tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, Kagyu tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, Sakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, and Gelug tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. These are the tradition. From this tradition, the Nyingma tradition and the Kagyu tradition, they are known as a practice lineage, especially the practice of the mind. So from one Kagyu tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, the most well-known meditator, realizer, whose name was Thakpo Rinpoche. In his book, he rightly, precisely, and clearly, decisively say that it is in Tibetan version. First, I will speak in Tibetan, and then I will try to translate it loosely. Mayang Pani Sangye Kunge Lam. He means to say that non-distraction or mindfulness is the only way to understand the mind, to unfold the nature of mind, to understand, to become a Buddha. Buddha means the real state of mind. So he rightly say, if mindfulness is lacking, in every practice, whether it is practice of mundane practice or transmundane practice, that practice become only the ritual. So he rightly say that without mindfulness, there is no practice. The practice means to understand the mind. To understanding the mind means to unfold the nature of mind. To unfold when the nature of mind is totally unfold, that state is called Buddha. The symbolic Buddha is Shakyamuni Buddha. So mindfulness is the key to understand the mind. When we understand the mind, then happiness starts generating. So I mean to say that mindfulness is the only way to attain happiness. Without mindfulness, attainment of happiness is impossible. So in this regard, there was a Tibetan scholars, and also he's a great meditator, but in a hidden way. His name is Gendin Chumpil. When he was in the Calcutta railway station, it was at 1950. He came to India from Tibet. He's on the pilgrimage. At one time, when he was in Calcutta railway station, he composed one very important composition. In that composition, he said that it is in Tibetan. Dogma migme devecho so yuk, sabu kangme devecho so yuk, dorna jikden thamje bang digne chigne chigyo devecho so yuk. He means to say that when he was in the Calcutta railway station, he's looking here and there, and at that moment and at the, upon that scenario, he composed this line. In this line, he wants to say that all the people are moving here and there at railway station. Not even the human being, even the the blind ant and the flies, they are also moving here and there. Why the people are moving here and there? Because they have only one purpose, to be attained, happiness. So you see, the primary purpose of our life is to attain happiness. So happiness is not there outside. It is the natural state of mind. The location of happiness is the natural state of mind. But the problem is that the most of the people, they see and they think and they conceive that mindfulness, it's there outside there in the form of materialistic comfort. Yes, materialistic comfort is a small way of it is a part of happiness, but it is not a happiness. It is not a genuine happiness. It is not lasting happiness. Lasting happiness resides within. So what we need to do? We have to work on the mind. We have to work on the mind. Without working on the mind, experience of happiness is impossible. It's not feasible. So what we need to do? Because we have, happiness is within the mind. So we have to unfold that happiness by the dint of mindfulness. Because mindfulness is what I think it is a transformational mechanism. When the mindfulness touches the state of mind, the mind unfolds its natural state. For example, when sunlight shines, it helps all vegetation. Vegetation grow. When mindfulness shines, it transforms all mental formation. So mindfulness is like that. So the problem is that how we need to, use that mindfulness in order to unfold the nature of mind or experience the happiness. So we have, we have a 5 kind of obscuration. Obscuration in the sense that we have a 5 kind of obscuration. For example, we have a, impure sort of physic, body, impure body, and we have an impure feeling, and we have an impure sort of, discerning capacity or intellectual, mind, or we have impure sort of mental formation, and also we have impure sort of, consciousness. These are the 5 elements. These element made us. This element is when we these on the basis of this element we are called men, women, by the different name. So we have to work on this 5 sort of element. The first one is the body. So understanding the body. Without understanding the body, one cannot understand the mind. So first, within the body, there are 2 layers of body, grossly impure sort of body and pure sort of body. So in order to transform the negative or impure kind of body towards the pure kind of body, what we need to do? We need to use the technique of mindfulness. Only through using the mindfulness that will help us to transform this impure kind of mind body towards the pure kind of body. Because why I'm saying this? Mindfulness has a 3 kind of characteristic. The function of mindfulness, and the object of mindfulness, and then the real state of mindfulness. The function of mindfulness, when the mindfulness is connect with anything, then mindfulness will never distract from the real state of that thing, that object. The reason is that mindfulness always sees the present. Mindfulness is never in the past and future. It has the energy of seeing the now, not seeing the past and the future. So therefore, when we use the technique of mindfulness to understand the body, then the real state of body start manifesting. Then when this real state of body start manifesting, then simultaneously real sense of happiness start generating. And also same to our feeling. When we use the technique of mindfulness to the object like a feeling, the impure sort of feeling start going down and pure sort of feeling start generating. When it happens, happiness start growing. Similarly, when we try to use the technical mindfulness to the object like mental formation, there are lots of thousands of mental formation every day. That pick up one mental formation, mental event, psychological event, whatever we say, try to use their mindfulness. The impure sort of mindfulness start collapsing, and then pure sort of mindfulness start generating. When it generates, real sense of happiness start experiencing. And also same with the consciousness, and also with the same with the subconsciousness, and also with the same with the metacognition, whatever it is. When the mindfulness, because mindfulness is like sunlight, as earlier I say, it's sunlight. When sunlight shines, it helps all vegetation grow. When the mindfulness shines, it transforms all sort of whether it is body, feeling, discerning capacity, and mental formation, and even the consciousness. These 5 elements, the impure part of this 5 elements start collapsing, and pure side of this 5 element start generating. When this generates, then happiness start generating. We'll experience the lasting happiness. We'll not experience happiness based on the nature of mind, not on the outside, materialistic comfort like this. So therefore, I mean to say that the mindfulness is the only way. It is the key. It's like a panacea to help generating, experiencing happiness within. So with this note, I would like to, stop my lecture here. I'm so thank you to all the thank you to Dr. Deepika Jamoli, Shahiji, and all the speakers, eminent speakers who have enlightened us before, and all the participants. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bhavatu Sarva Mangalam.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the words wherein the content of mindfulness is deep-seated. Truly said, lasting happiness can be achieved only by working on mind, only and only by working on mind. And the technique is mindfulness. So I extend my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to you again to be a part of this conference. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Abha Singh, Director, Emotional Intelligence, IILM University, my PhD co-guide and my mentor, and ma'am has always been there to support Speaking Cube's good work. Ma'am has more than 24 years of teaching, training, and research experience. She has her expertise in spiritual and positive psychology. And in 2017, she has been awarded with Peacemakers Award by Global Peace and Prosperity USA. So there is so much to speak about, but because of the time constraint, now I would like to invite Abha ma'am to share her words of wisdom. Over to you, Abha ma'am.
Thank you, Deepika. Greetings of peace, happiness to all esteemed panelists, and my gratitude to each participants in this conference on mindfulness, this joyful day, 22nd October 2021. I'm delighted, at the same time, I'm proud of my scholar, Dr. I had full faith in her that one day she will create a movement on mindfulness, and here it is. And once again, I congratulate Dr. Deepika and Speaking Cube team selecting this very important topic, post-pandemic. And this has been responded by Speaking Cube organization aptly, and it is a clarion call to save the humanity. I would like to give a little bit background of Dr. Deepika. Maybe most of you know, but I want to tell you how mindfulness has helped her to complete her PhD program. I know her, and when we were doing PhD, it's a very good journey we shared together. And Deepika, I'm giving this message to you that you can have program for PhD scholars of universities, India and abroad. They struggle to complete their PhD. And I have seen you as one of my scholars who completed before time. It was the examiner who took time, but she completed on time. And when I see and look back, I find that was because she practiced mindfulness. So my dear participants and esteemed panelists, this is the answer I want to give. If we want to achieve something in my life or in our life, mindfulness is the way. Going ahead and seeing the result, as Christopher was explaining on research data, I'm not going to repeat again. I agree on that data, that mindfulness is the answer to all our problems. But as Indians, let me tell you, are we listening? Only after pandemic, the data showed 60% started doing meditation. Why? Do you think pandemic has to come and tell us that you should start doing meditation? I think we have gone wrong in understanding health. Health is physical plus mental. We do a lot of exercise for physical health. Physically we are fit, but mentally we don't take care. So meditation, mindfulness, breathing, pranayam, all is for our health. Time has come, research has proved, evidence is enough, let me tell you. It's a clarion call for all humans to look at themselves, that what are we practicing and how we are practicing to maintain and sustain our mental health. And let me tell you, meditation makes us mindful. If we practice meditation, it makes us mindful. I strongly believe meditation as an antidepressant. And it does wonders if we practice daily. It has long-lasting impact, as Professor before me was talking from Buddhist perspective, and he was telling us, sir was telling us that how our body has to be taken care, and also mind is equally important, and our kind of nature as a Buddha, we all have. But how do we achieve that? So this is the way, if we practice meditation, we achieve mindfulness. And if we achieve mindfulness, we are able to be present in the moment. And if we are able to present in the moment, we are in peace, not in pieces. What is happening today? Worry, anxiety. We are in pieces every time. People are hustle, bustle in whatever task they are doing. And in our Indian context, spirituality teaches us, yoga teaches us that action in relaxation. We are calmly active or actively calm. That's the scenario we need to create for us as humans. But what is happening? If you see around yourself, you see a lot of people in anxiety, stress. And if we know this is the answer, and we don't have to spend money on that to utilize this technique for ourselves, why we hesitate? I don't know. I'm raising question to all of you in this inaugural session. How do we reach to masses to let them know that this is one technique, one tool, which is scientific, which is evidenced in researches on the effects of mental health, on the effects of happiness, on the effects of overall well-being? What stops us? So this is again a ponder for all psychology students or people from different disciplines need to think why it is not happening. More so, school, colleges, university need to take priority basis. This practice should be inculcated in every class. And we should not forget that we are creating future in the class. So how do we do that? That is up to us as a teacher, as a professor, as a mentor. Now, I want to let you know that if you see the genetics and see the evolution of humans, brushing was not in the genetic code. But how did we do that? We learned that. It was a learned behavior. Similarly, I want to draw attention to each and everyone today. If we have learned brushing for our hygiene, we can also learn breathing and meditation for our mental hygiene.
Can we not do that? So easy. Do we have routine? As many of us take pills, morning, evening. Can we not have that prescribed ourselves meditation, morning, evening, breathing exercise, as we do brushing as a part of maintaining our hygiene, oral hygiene? So I think this is nothing to debate upon. It is only a practice, a habit. Neuroscience, let me tell you, I teach neuroscience of positive emotions. I find we can create neural pathways if we want. Brain plasticity, neuroplasticity. We can create new habits if we want, but we have to practice. And a new habit is created by our new neurons, again, the wiring and firing of that neurons and neurotransmitter. But how do we do that? It's a practice. We have to start. Why we cling to one habit? Because that wiring is so strong, you're not getting rid of it. So there is a scope, but neuroscience has already mentioned that we can do that by starting new practice. And it is very easy because neuroscience has already given the concept of neuroplasticity, brain plasticity. That brain is flexible, agile. We can adapt anything new if we want. So it's not a time to make an excuse that I don't get time. That's majorly I hear from people around me that, ma'am, I don't have time, but we all have time. If we want to happen, that kind of thing in our life, it will happen. Now, going to the last point of my view, which I want to give as a panelist here. One, I said meditation is an antidepressant for all of us. We should take this pill. It's like a nature pill God has given to us, so easily accessible. We are not doing it. We should do it. Second, it can be a habit like a brushing, breathing, and meditation is a part of our life. We should inculcate that. And third point, which is a major thrust of this conference, that mindfulness in action for fairer world. I think that's the key. I have seen many researches and read and found and understood and practiced that meditators and non-meditators, the difference was found that they are more objective meditators, more constructive, more transparent compared to non-meditators. Hey, I am not labeling anybody, please don't take me wrong. I am giving you the status on the research finding, you check the research data. So Deepika and Speaking Cube team, I congratulate you on this aspect. Only a researcher can know how this is making changes in our behavior, in our personality, and it can further make changes in society. So, my dear psychology students and psychologists, practicing psychologists, I must tell you today that if you really want to bring behavioral change which is sustainable, this is the only way. I'm a psychologist myself by profession. Still, I'm making this statement, you can challenge me, that meditation can only bring behavioral change, and that behavioral change will be sustainable, and maybe we can achieve the SDG goals of UN. So Deepika, there's a lot of scope. You have created this movement, we are with you on this. And I have seen people who practice. I have got many PhD scholars done on this area, so I can go on speaking. I know the time limit is there. I know there's a lot of scope in this indigenous approach of meditation and yoga, which we don't know. Sometimes people tell me, I practice yoga. Then I question them. I ask them, do you practice meditation along with it? No, ma'am, zarurat nahi padta. Here is the gap. Ashtanga, if you see the yoga steps, last stage is dhyana. We have forgotten that dhyana stage. I can see my colleague Dr. Rita also, we know we used to discuss dhyana. Who will make this movement of dhyana yoga? Yoga is only For physical exercises, no. Even practitioner of yoga knows about it, that yoga is not only for health. Health is byproduct. If you see, overall yoga includes meditation also, according to Maharishi Patanjali Yoga Sutram book, if you see. But how many of us know about it? We only know stages of asanas and all kinds of asanas we do it, but last stage of dhyana, which through now various techniques and researches, it's easy, any stage you can do it. Even small kid can do dhyana, if you really teach him or her. So point I'm making here, that if we want a fairer world, just world, this practice can bring behavioral change. And also happiness, you are happy. When you're open, you're happy. When you're closed, there's something mischief going on. And this is not my statement, Dalai Lama in one of the conference stated this, that if you're happy, I think there will be no corruption. He said that. It's not my words. I'm just trying to quote and remember him on this very important forum, He said that all corruption is because we are unhappy. We are hiding, because when you are doing meditation, you're open person. You're open like a book. But when you are not doing meditation and when you are not mindful, you are closed personality. So when you are closed, there's so many things will goes on which nobody knows. And this is one of the cause of corruption. That's how he mentioned it in that forum of happiness. Now, coming back to the last point, which I want to make, that this behavioral change, if this is the way, why we are stopping ourselves. As psychologists, please include this practice of meditation as a therapeutic intervention. We should be proud as Indians that we are promoting this. As a psychologist, I'm very proud of promoting this and conducting a lot of researchers and PhD scholars. And I'm seeing time is going to come where it will be a full-fledged course in psychology field. And it should be scientifically verified. Why we should see only when other university does abroad, and then we accept that fact, and then we bring to our Indian citizens and Indian students and Indian universities. Why? I'm questioning this. We all have that root here. We can do wonderful task on this, and maybe one day we can give global psychology on this. I'm just visualizing. So mindfulness is important for all of us, and this is the only way, and meditation can help us to achieve it. That is something which we can do daily. And what Paramhans Yogananda said long back in his book, I'm reminding all Indian spiritual leaders. He said, if you are realized soul, you are doing good to yourself and society. So he said, how can you be realized soul? Self-realization, we say. We talk in psychology. He gave long back, I think. Psychology came later. And he said, if you want to, please read all of you self-realization autobiography by Paramhans Yogananda. He said, you have to practice meditation. This is the key to get realized soul. And how many of us are really understanding? We only understand the Western concept, and nothing, no offense to Western concepts, but this is what we learn from Western psychology, that self-awareness, self-realization. But he has given a method that through self-awareness, if you really want to achieve, it is self-realization. And self-realization can be achieved through meditation and walking and exercises. He has given both concepts for mental and physical, and further he added with your service which you are giving to society. That all makes you realize soul. So if we are realized soul, we can help ourselves and help others. And time has come that this realized soul can help us regain the glory of humanity. And with this, I conclude. And with the thought I want to share with you all on Rig Veda, the dictum stated in that, Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai. Welfare of many, happiness of many. and the only way is mindfulness. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule. And
I think there is some technical glitch with Dr. Deepika.
On behalf of Speaking Cube and in capacity of the HR of the organization,
Just a second, I want to make one point before you conclude. We had Honorable VC of CIS University. All my gratitudes and wishes to him, and we hope that Speaking Cube and the university, we can do wonderful job, wonderful projects to help humanity. And our service is research seva. We keep on telling each other, that is always there for the humanity. And this is so wonderful journey that we all will enjoy. So my heartful thank to Honorable VC Sir and the University Professor Lapson. I really thank that you have really helped this institution, Speaking Cube. And as she is my scholar, so I really motivate her. So this is the time I really feel proud that she has got the backing of such a big university, where if we can be a small dot also to help in a big way, we would be very happy to do so. So once again, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Vice-Chancellor and Professor Lapson, for taking out your time and giving us your blessings. Thank you.
thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule. I think I lost my internet connection in between. And thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom and your experience. And rightly said that mindfulness practice should be inculcated in the classroom settings. Also, if we can take care of our physical health, why not mental health with just breathing and being mindful? I extend my heartfelt thanks to the core of my heart to you, ma'am, and especially to bless the occasion with your presence as the keynote speaker and to be there with us all the time to support our good projects. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would like to request the pillar of Speaking Cube, Ms. Drishti Singh, Assistant Manager, HR of the Speaking Cube. Drishti Singh, over to you.
thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of Speaking Cube and in capacity of HR of the organization, I, Drishti Singh, would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our Chief Patron, Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan awardee, founder of Hesco, Dr.